Good evening, everyone. It's dark, but it's time. Tonight we're going to finish book number 5 from the GrailQuest series, since we couldn't finish it last week. Sadly, it was an unscheduled maintenance from my ISP. The internet cut off just when we were entering Scrogolo City. We're going to continue from there, maybe 2 or 3 sections before where it cut off, just so that we get back into the action right at the beginning of the entry of the city. So let's continue right now. The book number 5 from the GrailQuest series, Kingdom of Horror. Shouldn't take too long, I guess, because we're quite at the end. The last place we need to search for Excalibur. You made it, Pip! Congratulations! You're standing on the bridge, a little breathless to be sure, but safe enough for the moment. Glancing about you, you can see the largest part of the city lies to the north, while fewer buildings stand in the southern sector. Before you can make up your mind where to go, you notice 2 heavily bearded dwarves approaching. One male, one female. Yes, the female dwarf is just as heavily bearded as the male. They stop abruptly as they catch sight of you. "That person has a nude face, Henri!" exclaims the female dwarf to her companion in some alarm and not a little outrage. "Nobody dares come to Scrogolo City with a nude face, Minnie," Henri says. "Not with the police and the guards and everybody else ready to kill them and beat them and throw them in jail. Nude faces are against the law in Scrogolo." He takes her by the arm, and despite the fact that she begins to belabor him strongly with a leather handbag, leads her past you over the bridge, nodding civilly and short-sightedly in your direction. No harm done there as it happens, but the incident will certainly suggest you won't get far in this place unless you have a decently airy face. If you happen to be carrying a false beard and moustache, whip it out and put it on instantly. If not, you can always try Merlin's house and the equipment store before you move any further. That's what we did last time. And we got somewhere there the false moustache here. So we're good to go. Alright, on the map of Scrogolo City, first we went to the really big building. As I recall, the biggest building on the north side. This is one monumentally large building, Pip, unguarded but locked up tight, and it is by the main door states, closed until 10:30 p.m. This is still a good few hours away, despite all the time you've wasted messing around in this city. Which is like 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Nevertheless, not being one to miss an opportunity, you have a little peer in at one of the windows. Inside you can see rows upon rows of identical bunk beds with a wooden locker beside each. A notice on the far wall states, "Long live King Blagworth." Not much more to see here, Pip. Better select another destination from your city plan. It was indeed most probably the barracks. And then we went to something that looked like a church. This is a church building of some sort, a temple perhaps, and quite unlike anything you'd find in Avalon. The inscription above the pillars says bewilderingly, "The number is 0. Hail to Dackworth, god of dwarves." From the partly open door, you can smell the scent of incense and hear sounds of chanting. But do you enter? Well, sure, yes. We're on new territory now. You move towards the door, only to have your way blocked by two broad-shouldered dwarves in priestly robes carrying wicked-looking maces. Peace, intones one, waving his mace. Hail who? Asked the other, threateningly. Duckworth, god of dwarves, you reply, promptly remembering the inscription. What is the number? Inquires the first priest, still waving that menacing mace. 0, you reply triumphantly, again remembering the inscription. Is it sweet or is it sour? Asks the second priest, scowling. You stare at him dumbly. That certainly wasn't on the inscription. But on it or not, they're looking for an answer. Is it sweet or is it sour? They're dwarves, it must be sour. There is a momentary silence as the two dwarves look at you. Then one smiles broadly. A saint, he tells the other. Defiantly, the other concurs. With which they step aside and, bowing, gesture you to enter. The interior of the temple is a huge circular chamber ringed by colonnades. At the exact center stands an organ, on which a long-haired dwarf is pounding out a frenzied rendition of Roll Out the Barrel. Around him stand groups of dwarves in silent meditation. Dotted around the place are statues of a giant dwarf, which you take to be representations of the god Duckworth. In front of the one nearest you is an offering plate in which lies an octagonal copper token. If you feel like robbing a church, we can grab the token. If not, we need to go away somewhere else. Yeah, well, we're there, so we should steal the stuff. We need to roll 2 dice. And since we don't have any kind of stealth skill or anything in this game, it's based purely on dumb luck. 9, score 6 or above and you're free and clear. Good. We are free and clear. Let's put that on our way too much encumbered backpack. It was an octagonal token, I think. And we need to go back to the city plan. Play's done. We can go to the locations kind of in order. There's 98 here. And those look like maybe barracks as well, but probably not. There's quite a racket emerging from this building. Banging, hammering, and worst of all, the most tuneless singing you have ever heard in your entire life. Cautiously, you stick your head around the open door. Inside are rows and rows of wooden benches. Close on 300 dwarves are making shoes. And singing. The smell of leather, the tap of hammers, the beat of lapstones, and the strangled gulps of swallowed tacks are everywhere. You're about to withdraw your head and creep quietly away when a voice from somewhere on a level with your navel asks, "Come for a job, have you?" Glance down to find yourself looking at a dwarf dressed in a leather apron, on which the single word "foreman" has been stenciled. "A job?" you echo foolishly. "Pays 100 gold a week," says the foreman dwarf. "Union rates plus overtime. Are you interested or are you not?" "Well, are you? The gold could come in handy and the work doesn't look all that difficult if you can survive the singing. We can apply or go somewhere else." This game we need to do everything or pretty much everything, so let's go for it. Thank you, sir, you tell this mini-dwarf foreman politely. I should indeed like to take a job in your factory. Workshop, says the foreman. It's called a workshop. Only blogs call place like this factory. You're not a blog, are you? I don't think so, you reply, wondering what on earth he's talking about. Soon find out, won't we? Remarks the foreman, winning heavily. There's the test. The test? You echo in some trepidation. Simple enough, sniffs the foreman, but it certainly sorts the blogs from the blags. You just tell me now which color you prefer. Forest green or russet red. Sneakily, you glance at the shoes being made, but they are all brown, so that doesn't help. Come on, says the foreman. I can wait all day. You're going to have to answer if you tell him green, or if you think it should be red. Oof. I didn't think they were Christmas dwarves. Green or red? I feel more like green. Don't know why. Oh, yeah. I got a good reason here. The little orb. What was it called? I'm not sure. It's on the inventory because it's kind of permanent. But the orb that changes color. Green is safe. Red is not. So, yeah, green. By the Holy Zero, you're definitely a blag, exclaims the foreman dwarf in a sudden burst of total unintelligibility. You can start right away. Now you've got yourself an honest job, at least for a while. If you throw 2 dice and multiply your answer by 100, it will tell you how much gold you will earn before you return to your city plan. Sure, you're going to work for the dwarves for some time before switching Excalibur. That's 35 by 100. Yo, okay. That's kind of a lot of gold. 3,730 total now. There's a literal, little round building there. Must be a tower of some kind. Or maybe a pit. As you stand staring up at this building, trying to make sense of the sign above the door, a dwarf emerges and strolls slowly in your direction. Excuse me? He says grimly. But do you know you are illegally parked? You back off in sudden alarm. Me? Park? No, I didn't. You can see he's wearing a uniform and suddenly the sign above the door. Rampant on the field door. Makes sense. This is a police station. Right so? Tells you, taking out a notebook. If you wouldn't mind answering 1 or 2 questions? No, not at all. You tell him, fingering EJ nervously in case this turns into something more serious. A desperate attempt to slaughter the entire Scroggle constabulary. The first question is, says the dwarven constable carefully, are you a blag? Pauses significantly. The second question is, are you a blog? Tough questions. If you answer blag, or if you feel more like a blog. And the foreman told us that we were a blag. I guess we're a blag. The dwarven constable looks mollified. So far, so good, he remarks. But where were you on the night of the 25th? I don't know, you cry desperately. I can't remember. Nor can I, says the constable, putting away his notebook and finishing a small octagonal copper token from his pocket. Here you are, then, he says, handing it across. Now be off with you and stay out of trouble. Glance at the copper token. Engraved on its surface are the words, Palace property, long live King Blagwort. Pocket the token and get away quickly, Pip. Never pays to argue with the police. You can select another destination. So we have a second octagonal token. I wonder if it matters. Next one. There's the other round building near the bridge. Might be another police station. Perhaps not the best building to explore, Pip. This is a guard tower. Oh, similar to a police station. Roll 2 dice to determine how many guards are in residence. Nine guards. Oh, each has 15 life points. Okay. Is it Blagwort or Blugwort? Challenges the nearest guard formally the moment you make your entrance. Answer at once. A lunatic question, but you'd better give some sort of answer. So is it Blagwort or Blugwort? And so far, we've seen Long live Blagwort everywhere, so kind of an obvious choice. Correct, exclaims the guard. Here is your free pass to the municipal music hall. With which he hands you a card on which some overworked scribe has written. Municipal music hall admit one loyal visitor free. Yeah, I guess the scribe overworked to write all those. Musical pass, many stuff. A pleasant gesture to a tourist. Take your pass and return to the city plan. Next one. Rectangular building. Just a bit north. Could it be the music hall? No. Like more smaller workshop. Oh, why not a tavern? If you've been feeling thirsty, you certainly stumble on the right place. It's a tavern, and not too busy either by the look of it. Is it A or is it 0? The barman calls cheerfully as you approach. Is it Blug or is it Blag? Is it green or is it red? Is it sour or is it sweet? Is it even worth the bother? And he giggles and sways alarmingly. Never mind about all that, you tell him severely, taking the dwarf accent. I am searching for the great sword of King Arthur, and so far I'm getting nowhere. Have you any information for which I will pay you handsomely if you are prepared to accept an IOU? The barman sobers instantly. They say the blogs have it? He mutters in a low, fearful voice. But whether you can believe what they say is a different matter. What will you do if you find the sword, noble adventurer? I shall wrest it from the villain who purloined it and return it to its rightful owner, my liege lord, King Arthur of Avalon, you proclaim. Blow me down, exclaims the barman in admiration. I'll toss you for a token. He produces an octagonal pewter token from beneath the bar, along with a brace of dice. Highest roll wins. As you take the dice to roll them, you notice engraved on the pewter token the words, Palace property, long live King Blugwort. Yeah. It's different because it's a pewter one. Okay. Way too much stuff. Roll once for the barman and once for yourself. If your roll is higher than this, you may have the token. Okay, so first roll is the barman. And is higher. I guess we don't have the pewter one. Okay. Not sure we can go back. It's only a question of rolling dice ad infinitum. It's stupid. Let's say we don't have it for now. So 115. It looks like kind of a manor. Yeah, maybe a manor. And it says Municipal Museum. What a crashing bore. But we can explore this place anyway. The museum building is certainly impressive, constructed in the grand Roman manner with flying buttresses and all sorts of showy trifles. Unlike most museums you have seen, however, it is entirely surrounded by a small army of guards, some sporting brown uniforms, some grey. As you approach the entrance, a guard officer signals to halt. Your pass? He asks briskly. A museum pass. Nope, we have a music hall pass. Have to go back later. Next place must be the music hall. A weird piece of architecture here, Pip. The roof is curved like gently undulating hills, and the supporting pillars lean crazily every which way. Against all odds, it seems to be secure enough, though. The entrance door, which has a ticket booth beside it manned by a bird and lady dwarf, carries a brass plaque stating Municipal Music Hall. A sharp. From inside comes the sound of singing. You can enter, or creep a little closer to hear the words of the song. Well, we could simply sneak just before. You move towards the door, only to have your way blocked by two broad-shouldered dwarves in priestly robes carrying wicked... Not the... But the... That's the same... Oh, not the correct paragraph. Okay. Rewind play. The words of the song, which you can now hear quite clearly, having crept closer, are "The Scrogolo racetracks 3 feet long, do-da, do-da, in the northern half where it belong, do-da, do-da day." Quite edifying, really. But if you've quite finished, you should decide what you want to do next. Which is entering the place, I guess. Get your pass? Asked the lady dwarf as you approach her booth. Yes, we do. You enter a very rowdy theater with a chorus line of bearded female dwarves doing a knees-up behind a knockabout comic on stilts, apparently doing a takeoff of some king or other, to judge from the purple robes and tinsel crown. I say, I say, I say, exclaims the comic. Are we blags or are we blogs? The audience erupts in laughter. This is painful stuff, Pip. Even AJ is cringing in his scabbard. Maybe you should stop wasting your time on frivolity and go back to your city plan. Oh, the only thing is, if you were carrying any pewter tokens, one of them will now be missing, stolen by a pickpocket. But we have only copper tokens. And it solves the thing of, do we have the barman token or not? We don't. No more locations. No. There's another one here with pillars, and it seems like an open building. Hard to see. The building has open sides, and beneath the high roof, supported by colonnades, is the bustling hive of dwarven activity. A single glance tells you what is going on. Boat building. On a nearby pillar, somebody has stuck a notice stating, "All job applications to the foreman." Directly underneath is a second notice stating, "Join the revolution, see Comrade Nagier for details." And directly under this is a third notice stating, "Inquiries." Glance across in the direction of the arrow to discover a small elevated platform with a desk on top. Sitting behind the desk is a dwarf. If you want to make inquiries about a job or joining the revolution, you can reach the elevated platform. Yeah, let's take a look. The dwarf looks up at your approach. "Is it a job you're after, or do you want to join in the revolution?" he asked. A fair question, if you'd like a few honest days of toil, or the revolution. Yeah. Maybe the revolution. Let's see. "I'm looking for Comrade Nagier," you tell the dwarf. "That's me, comrade," he tells you. "Come to join the revolution, is it?" You nod, wondering what on earth the revolution is all about. "Willing to take the loyalty trial?" "I suppose so." "Good," he says, then calls over his shoulder, "Comrade Alf!" And out of the crowd of bustling shipbuilders lumbers the broadest, baldest dwarf you have ever seen. He steps in front of you, frowning slightly and flexing muscles. "Comrade Alf's our Revolutionary Council Loyalty Investigation Committee trial by Combat Subcommittee Chairman," Comrade Nagier explains. "You fight barehanded. No scratching, no gouging, no hitting below the belt. If you're still standing after 4 rounds, you're in. The fight won't kill you or Comrade Alf either, come to that. Roll for first strike as usual. Since this is a friendly punch-up, you won't be using EJ, so you will need a 6 or better to hit and score. Only dice damage with no weapons additions. 1 strike by you and 1 strike by Alf count as a round. Alf hits a +10 because of his enormous strength, but your damage score against him should be deducted from the damage he scores against you in that particular round. Okay, if you still have 10 or more life points after 4 rounds of this, you can stagger off to join the revolution. Well, we're full HP, we might be good. That's a healing potion for afterwards anyway. There we go. Oh, need to reroll. Okay, Pip goes first. That's a hit. You do 3 damage. It doesn't say how he needs, so that must be a 6. So that's it as well. 16 damage. We lost 13. Ow. How can we stand 4 rounds of this? That's a miss. That's a hit for 12 damage. Hit for 5 damage against the comrade. That's a hit for 11, so 6. Well, last round, I don't see how we can... That's a miss, unless he misses. Oh, all hits, damn. We're dead. but not really since we can die. Doesn't says. Guess I'll just put back full HP since it was a friendly bout. That's kind of a fail. Okay, we need to go back to the city. We want to join the revolution. On the south part of the sea, there's another round thingamajig. Probably a guard tower or a police station. I wonder if the south is for the blogs and north is for the blags. Perhaps not the best building to explore, Pip. This is a guard tower. Roll 2 dice to determine how many guards are in residence. As long as we don't fight them. There are 6 guards. Is it Blackwort or Blogwort? Challenges the nearest guard the moment you make your entrance. Answer at once. Is it the same or we need to... I'm sure the south is different. We need to answer the counter opinion than the north. Well said, exclaims the guard in admiration. He draws a sheet of parchment from his jacket and hands it over to you. You've earned this. You glance at the writing on the parchment. It reads, "Free pass to Municipal Museum." Okay. Neutral territory and diplomatic immunity, etc. Well, we can go back to the museum. But it was over there. We have a pass now. There we go. The museum building is certainly impressive, constructed in a grand Roman manner with flying buttresses and all sorts of showy trifles, just like the concert hall, or the other things. Unlike most museums we have seen, however, it is entirely surrounded by a small army of guards, some sporting brown uniforms, some grey. As you approach the entrance, a guard officer signals you to halt. Your pass. Yeah. We have it. Let's go. You wander through the inner halls. Inner balls? Yeah, inner halls of the museum, impressed despite yourself at some of the exhibits. Here, for example, is a vivid tableau of a dwarven hunter in the wilderness at bay, on a rock totally surrounded by a huge pack of savage Vron. Next, in a gallery of paintings, there are 2 striking family portraits side by side of glowing male dwarves in noble regalia, so similar in appearance that they might be twins. The plaque beneath one identifies him as King Blackwort, while the other is shown to be King Blogwort. Then hanging on the wall is a tapestry depicting Borfax races, the huge beasts straining against the efforts of their dwarven jockeys. And here, now this is an interesting find, is a glass case with a plaque identifying the exhibit as the Great Book of Dwarven Histories. Inside there is indeed a great book, a heavy tome, leather-bound and open so that 2 of its pages are exposed to view. You begin to read and discover, with mounting excitement, that the history begins to make some sense of the situation you have experienced in Scrogolo City. It appears that Blagwort and Blogwort are twins, born of the Scrogolo royal line and so similar in appearance that not even their mother, the late Queen Grizzleguts, could decide which had actually been born first. As a result of this quirk of fate, no one could decide which was the rightful heir to the throne, so that when the time came for one of them to become king, nobody could decide which it should be. This dilemma teetered the country on the brink of civil war until the sage on the granite pillar decreed that the kingdom should be divided between them both by the casting of lots. This was duly done so that certain areas fell to Blogwort and others to Blagwort, Both were granted the title of king. A problem arose with Scrogolo City, however, where the casting of the lots left King Blagworth in control of the larger, richer sector of the city north of Undine Flow, while Blagworth had to be content with a smaller, poorer southern sector. As a result, citizens of both sectors became very partisan to their particular leader, and commerce between the two sectors was limited and restricted by frequent questions designed to test the loyalty of the traveler. But interesting though it is, all this pales by comparison with the final paragraph of the second page, which tells how King Blugworth decided the only way he could obtain what he saw as his rightful inheritance, a larger slice of Norton's Krog Hollow, was to equip himself with a mighty weapon of war so powerful that his brother will be unable to stand against it. But there the paragraph ends, leaving you to wonder whether the weapon Blugworth wanted was Excalibur, and whether he actually went ahead and stole it from King Arthur. Sneakily, you try breaking into the glass case to read more of the book, but it resists your best efforts. While you are trying, however, you notice an octagonal copper token lying on the ground. Inscribed on it are the words, Palace Property, Long Live King Blagworth. Another copper token. Now we understand what's going on here. Can go to the other open field on the south side. We have buildings on the south side to explore. And we kind of know where Excalibur might be. This huge building is locked, bolted and deserted. A notice nailed to the main door states, Boatyard, closed due to strike. Underneath it someone has scrawled in code, Code 4. Oh, yeah, we need to go check this out. Here it is. Or not. We're only here for the beer. What's the point? Okay. We need to go back to the city plan. Okay, that one in the middle. What a merry place! Dwarves of all descriptions, dressed in the gaudiest of colors, were sailing and carousing, singing, dancing on the tables, fighting. An honest tavern, by all appearances, and quite like Avalon on a Saturday night. You shoulder your way to the bar, eyes narrowed as you keep a sharp lookout for the great sword Excalibur, this being just the sort of place you will expect to find rogues and thieves displaying their ill-gotten booty. You lean against the counter, a half smile playing grimly across your lips as you survey the merry throng. 3 fingers of rye, a chew, and a spittoon. You drawl across your shoulder to the barman. What? Asks the barman. You pull yourself together. My pardon, you say politely. What I meant to say was a tankard of mead by your leave and a little information. Mead it is, says the barman. He leans forward confidentially and adds, Is it hay or is it ho? Is it what? You ask, taken aback. You are suddenly aware the whole tavern has gone quiet. I said, repeats the barman. Is it hey, or is it ho? Everybody's looking at you, Pip. And there are quite a few unsavory characters in here. Better give him some sort of answer. I wonder if he means 0 instead of O, though. But they really said O and not 0, and all the other places it was evident that it was 0 for Blackwood. So should I say O, I guess? Yeah, I think we should try O, since it's like the 0 itself. It's actually the same kind-ish symbol. Let's go with O. Right, he exclaims. Right! Carouses the motley crew, returning to their former occupations. The mead's on me, growls a sinister-looking dwarf, a little way down the bar. He is neatly dressed in black, with silver edging. He sidles up to you. Couldn't help but overhear you asking for information, stranger. That could be misunderstood in these parts. Some might take you for a blag. Not me. If you need information, just ask. The name is Honest Harry. Are you going to risk anything, this sinister, if honest personage, for information on Excalibur? Well, we have no other options, so go. The place has gone quiet again. Even Honest Harry seems subdued. He glances around him and lowers his voice. We don't talk much about matters of that sort around here, stranger. But since you're obviously a blog at heart, I'd suggest you try a similar establishment to this one. With which he drains his glass and settles off, for giving you direction. That's the other tavern. Yes, we can roll the dice again. It's equal, so we roll. The barman wins again. Okay, never mind. Won't have any pewter token. There's definitely the palace left there, and 2 rectangular buildings. One looks kind of military, the other more mundane. Shall try the mundane one. There's quite a racket emerging from this building. Banging, hammering, and worst of all, the most tuneless. The same. Is it the same? It's another foreman thing. It's not the same section as before, though. But that's the same thing, it's the job. What do they make? Is it shoes again? Yeah, they're making shoes. It's the same paragraph as the other workshop. Do we go to the same place after applying? No? So strange. And he asked the question, green or red? Yeah, but we know it's the other way around. And we can start right away because we answer red. Okay, that's why the different... the paragraphs were different as the other one. So we have 3,600 gold more. Okay, not sure if it's going to be useful somewhere. And we go back to the discipline. So 2 buildings left. Oh, no, there's a round thingy in the corner there. Can check the round one. You've landed into action here, and no mistake, Pip. As you approach this building, you can see a masked dwarf carrying a large sack prominently marked swag, racing like the clappers in your direction. Behind him in hot pursuit are 3 uniformed dwarves with drawn truncheons. "Stop that dwarf!" calls one of the truncheon bearers, catching sight of you. Stopping the runaway dwarf could be dangerous, but if you want to try, or you will prefer not to get involved. I think we should help. "Hold hard!" you cry and launch yourself upon the runaway, who has 25 life points. Don't remember where we were before the wolves. The barbarians. A runaway. "25 life points, and will fight furiously for his freedom using a +2 dagger, which will hit successfully on 5 or better." Okay, so initiative. Pip first. That's a hit. 4 + 5, 9 damage against the runaway. And that's it as well. 8 against Pip. Another big hit for 13. Almost dead. The other way around. Hit again for the thief. That's 6 damage. And he's dead. Third experience point. Can heal ourselves as well with the honeycombs. 7, that's 34. 4, that's 38. I think 38 is enough. We have so many potions. Let's fool ourselves. Am I kidding there? We won't use 35 potions till the end of the book. Okay, the fight has been won. That was well done, remarks a uniformed dwarf, bending slightly. Slippery Sam was a prime nuisance to the kingdom. He fishes out a small octagonal pewter token and hands it across to you. Oh, perfect pewter. Set this as token of our esteem. Engraved on the pewter token are the words: "Palace property, long live King Blogwort." Alright. There's only the big military-like building for the palace. A quick glance through the windows of this massive building quickly convinces you that it is a canteen. No one is inside and that you can see, and the door is locked. There is, however, an attestating code 2. Okay, there we go again, looking at the scrambled words. It says closed for lunch. I wonder if the times that we saw before will come to play somewhere, some point, or it's only flavor. Go back to the city plan. There's only the palace left. Well, that seems to be the palace. It's a castle, and a very well guarded castle at that. Pennant banners on the turrets identify it as Blugwort Keep, and the whole place is so securely fortified it will take a full-scale army to capture it. There is, however, a steady stream of visitors through the main gates. Each one stopped briefly by the palace guards and either turned quietly away or permitted to enter. Curiously, you join the queue. As you reach the guards, you are asked politely enough, "Do you have palace tokens?" "Well, do you? If you have any octagonal tokens, turn..." Yep. We have a bunch of them. "Yes, of course I have," you say confidently. "Any of them pewter?" asks the guard. "Do you have..." "Yes, we have at least one pewter token." "Yes," you say confidently. "I'll need 4 of them to let you pass," says the guard casually. That means that we need to play with the barman. But there's not even a fee for the drinks that we pay to him. That's kind of useless. So we should go to the barman, play dice with him, get 4 pewter tokens there, come back here. That's pretty much how I understand it, since we've explored everything. So there we go, we have 4 pewter token. Let's fast forward this. I won't roll dice just for fun, which is not fun actually. You pass through the castle doorway and stop, eyes wide with surprise. You have entered directly into the throne room of Blugwort Castle, where King Blugwort himself, looking amazingly like his brother Blagworth, is sitting nervously on a raised throne, beside which, embedded in a block of Stilton, is the great sword Excalibur. And as if that shock wasn't enough, King Blugwort immediately throws both hands high in the air, shouting, "I surrender! I surrender!" "You what?" "I surrender!" repeats the king. "I give in, Pax!" He lowers his hand cautiously. "You are Pip, aren't you?" "Yes," you agree. "I am." "I knew it!" groans the king. "I knew it the minute they talked me into stealing this stupid sword. Mark my words, I told him, King Arthur's going to be furious. He'll send his bravest, most ferocious, most intelligent, and best-looking hero after the sword. He'll send Pip the Wizard Basher, Dragon Slayer, Gateway Closer, and Saxon Rotter. And he has, and you're here, and we're all doomed." It seems your reputation has preceded you, Pip. You take a step forward and the king cringes in a most satisfying manner. "Well, perhaps not exactly doomed," you tell him reassuringly. "Certainly not if you are prepared to let me have the sword back without any trouble." "That's just it," wails the king. "I can't. It's stuck in this block of Stilton, and nobody can get it out unless they solve the riddle of the buck and kill the giant Berkwadel." The riddle of the giant... There had to be a catch. "My chief wizard set it up as protection," groans the king. "Then accidentally fell into a portable hole he was creating to store his spells in. Nobody's seen him since and nobody knows how to get around his protection system." Judging by your experience of Merlin, it's exactly the sort of thing a wizard will do. All the same, you stride forward to the sword and give it a sharp tug to make sure. But as the king said, it is stuck fast in the block of Stilton. You turn away. I suppose I shall just have to have a go at solving the riddle and killing the waddling whatnot. Sigh. Yes, says the king enthusiastically. Yes, you do that. Come with me, and we'll start right away. You follow the king from the throne room, along a corridor and down a narrow flight of steep stone steps. At the bottom is a dungeon door, on which has been placed an ornate notice stating, "The buck stops here, somewhere." The king opens the dungeon door and politely steps aside to allow you to enter. Equally politely, you suggest he enters first. He demurs and insists you precede him. You refuse and insist he takes the lead. After 5 minutes of this paranoid nonsense, his nerve finally breaks, possibly because you have placed the tip of EJ's blade gently on his throat, and he walks through the door. You follow to find you have entered a smallish, gloomy cell on the far wall, of which 4 venerable white-bearded dwarves are hanging in chains. "These are my former advisors," explains the king. "Troublemakers, everyone. It was one of them who talked me into stealing Excalibur. The problem is to find out which one." "But surely you know," you protest. "I did," admits the king, "but I don't know. Rather, I don't now. My chief wizard placed an amnesia spell on me as part of the riddle. I can't remember which it was. But how am I supposed to solve the riddle?" The king sighs. "You probably won't. Their names are Tom, Dick, Harry, and the Reverend Plantagenet O'Rourke. Under terms of the riddle, they will all make one statement. We know that 3 of the 4 statements will be lies and only 1 true. The problem is, we don't know which is which, but perhaps you can work it out logically." He hesitates, then gives you a sickly smile. "There's another problem," he adds. "If you get the answer wrong, you have to fight the Bergwaddle with one hand tied behind your back." Sounds like a fate worse than dead. But you can worry about that if it happens. You draw yourself up to your full height. "Let them make their statements," you say boldly. "Who advised me to steal Excalibur?" asks the king. "Dick did," replies Tom. "The Reverend Plantagenet O'Rourke did," exclaims Dick. "I definitely didn't," wails Harry. "Dick is lying when he says I did," mutters the Reverend Plantagenet O'Rourke. "Remember," says the king, "only one statement is true. So who did it?" Okay, now that's a more interesting puzzle here. So, Tom said it was Dick. Dick said it was the Reverend Plantagenet O'Rourke. Harry said it was Harry. No, it says that it wasn't him. So, anybody else? And the Reverend said that Dick lied. Okay. So, if what the Reverend said, the Reverend Plantagenet O'Rourke said is true, it means that Dick lied, so it wasn't the Reverend. But it means also that Tom lied, so it's not Dick. And that means that Harry lied, and it's not himself. So that means it would be Tom, I guess. Because Tom said it was Dick, it's not him. Dick's the Reverend, not him. Dick lied, it's true. Yeah, sounds like Tom. If we take that different ways, just in case. If Tom says it's true, so it's Dick. Dick said it was the Reverend. It's false. Harry said it's not him. But that's true. Oh, yeah, there's something wrong here. So, does it work? Tom says it's true. No, yeah, it could be someone else. So, but that's true. So, two things are true. Oh, yeah, there's another one there. If what Harry said is true, let's go back to Harry later though. If what Dick said is true, means that the Reverend did it. But Tom said it was Dick, false. Okay, Harry said it's not him, false. That's not true. So it doesn't work. And if it's true that Harry didn't do it, it was someone else, that means Tom said it was Dick. It's false. Okay, Dick said it was Reverend. It's false. Okay, the Reverend said Dick lied. That's not true, but it became true. So let's go back to the Reverend said Dick lied, and it's true. We're kind of in a conundrum there. Tom said it was Dick. It's true. That one is false. That one is false, and it doesn't work. Because it's true if it's Dick. And Dick said it was a Reverend, the same thing. If it's true, then the first is okay, but not true for Harry. But that means if this one is true, everything is going around. Tom said it was Dick. Must be false. That's the easiest one to cross. Dick said it was a Reverend, but if it's false, then he lied, and the Reverend is true. And it means that Harry is true as well, so it doesn't work. If Harry said what Harry said is true, and Tom said it was Dick is false, Dick said it was the Reverend, it's false, Dick lied, it's false. Is it false? Oh, no, it's true, he lied because it's not the Reverend. I don't see any answer working there. Shouldn't be that hard though. If what Dick says is true, that automatically means that the Reverend is false. Because he didn't lie. And means that it's true that Harry didn't do it, but it can be that it will make it two true statements. Doesn't work. How can it work? Huh. Does it work, really? Am I being a clown here? If what the Reverend said is true, then Dick lied. That means that it's false for Dick. False for Harry and false for Tom. And it's Harry. That's kind of my first idea. Okay. Shouldn't have double guessed myself time around. No sooner have you made your choice than a soundless explosion occurs in the gloomy cell, producing a thick cloud of purple smoke, which clears slowly to reveal the most hideous creature you have ever seen. It stands nearly 8 feet tall on muscular hind legs, and is totally covered in scales. The long head is very well equipped with fangs, and the 4 feet end in vicious talons. The overall effect is that of a toad crossed with a crocodile. A barbed tail lashes back and forth hypnotically. Looks as though you've just met the giant Burkwaddle, Pip. The creature has 100 life point. Okay. Strike successfully on 4 or better and does +5. The same type of attack as us, but with twice the life points. And he has a natural armor of 4. Natural immunity to magic. Except 1. We need to draw 7 or better to use any magic artifact. The one exception is the ebony rod of Kral, a small rod believed to be hidden somewhere in the wilderness. We have the ebony rod. There's an indentation in the end into which you can fit a special ruby. You happen to have found both the rod and the ruby while messing around in the wilderness. We have a ruby, we have a rod. You can use it now to remove 50 of the Burkwaddle's hit points. That's nice. Rod of Kral with ruby. The rod can, however, only be used once, and if you didn't find it or the ruby in the first place, you're just going to have to do things the hard way. And talking of hard way, you'd better turn to see if you'll be fighting this thing with one hand tied behind your back. Things could have been a lot worse, Pip. It seems you got the riddle right, so you don't have any handicap in the fight. Okay. We had a lot of spells. Like Dragonfire Pills. Or a Sanctuary Scroll. And we're going to resurrect as well. Can use the Psionic Helm to reduce damage by 50%. If we're stuck, we can roll for the Orb of Incredible Destruction. Okay, let's see if we're able to use any of these. Let's go for the Invulnerability Scroll first, I think. Yeah, because fighting up both of them is useless. Let's see also the initiative round. The Burkwaddle first. So he goes in. And that's it for 7 damage. Sanctuary works, so we have 4 rounds of invulnerability against the Burkwaddle. Strikes Bags doesn't work anyway, or whatever, so Pip goes first round of invulnerability. That's a nice clean hit. For 13 minus 4. 9 damage. Second round invulnerability. That's a hit. For only 4, I think. Yeah, 4 damage. Third round invulnerability. 6, that's a 3-8. Same thing. Or almost. Yeah, I removed 1 point too much. Last round of invulnerability. That's 10. Oh, 12 damage minus 4, 8. Down at 26. 1 round of Burkwaddle. He barely hits. 6 damages. Let's try the Sleep Globe actually. Because that's... Oh, just barely. 12 rounds of sleep. Yeah, piling up those magic items was really a good move. Or was all luck actually. 12 rounds, okay, we should just simply roll all the dices. 11 rounds left. Go. Does it survive all this? Does it? Let's calculate only Excalibur Junior plus damage. Minus the armor, that's 1 damage per roll. That hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Hit. Already 11 HP or life points gone. And then we need to calculate everything by end. 7, that's 4. 10, that's 7, so 11. And the other one at the top that I forgot, 8, 5, that's 16. The Burkwaddle is dead after being put to sleep. That's the easiest boss fight we had so far in all the GrailQuest books. You did it? Exclaims the king excitedly. Now they'll call you the Burkwaddle Slaughterer. Not if I can help it. You growl sourly, putting away your sword. You return with the king to the throne room, where, to the relief of both of you, Excalibur slips from the skeleton as smoothly as if it were a block of butter. Please, convey my apologies to the good King Arthur, says King Blugwort contritely. And my assurances that such a thing will never happen again. I've decided to live in peace with my brother, except for the occasional bit of sabotage, of course. So things should be a lot better around. Yes, you agree. One more thing, says the king. I have a little gift to show my appreciation of the fact that you did not do me in as easily as you dealt with the Burkwaddle. One of my prized stallions to carry you safely back to your homeland. Claps his hands. And through a side door crashes the terrifying shape of a riding Borfax, an ornate leather saddle already strapped to its back. Don't worry, remarks the king. You'll soon get the hang of riding him, and he really has a very pleasant nature. Gingerly, you approach a Borfax, wondering, ruefully, if you will ever manage Camelot in one piece. Who knows, although you might like to turn to the section headed Pip Triumphant to find out. All was not well at Camelot, the great castle on the hillside overlooking Glastonbury, once noted for the festive pennants that flew like captive pigeons from its towers, stood gloomy and sombre, drawbridge raised, portcullis lowered, windows shattered, a brooding silhouette against the dark night sky, and around it stretched the encampment of a siege army close on 7,000 strong. Inside the castle, in the upper chamber which housed the Table Round, King Arthur sat, head bowed in silent thought, while the depleted complement of knights watched him in expectant silence. At last the king looked up. "The problem," he said slowly, "is beyond solution. The army without our gates is no invading foreign power, but our own stalwart countrymen. Misguided perhaps, but stout English every one. We cannot conscience attack our own subjects." "And yet," put in Sir Galahad, "they lay us siege." "That they do," Sir Percival agreed, "and our storerooms are almost empty, our supplies almost exhausted. If we do not fight, Camelot itself will fall." "It is," murmured the king again, "beyond solution." "Unless," said Sir Galahad quietly, "Excalibur is found." The knights, to a man, turned to look pointedly at the silent white-robed figure seated in a corner in disgrace. Merlin, for it was he, fidgeted uneasily. It always seemed to end up this way, he thought. Whenever anything went wrong, he finished up carrying the can. Outside in the encampment, men were stirring. Although untrained to war, these worthies had a natural peasant cunning and sensed the time for a mass attack had come, and for that attack they prepared with rude discipline, shouting orders, sharpening weapons, polishing boots. A whispered word went round, "Attack at dawn!" They waited, tense with expectation, the sky lightened in the false dawn. On the outskirts of the encampment, a sentry yawned, expecting no disturbance. Were not King Arthur and his knights safely cooped up in the castle? A sound. The sentry, startled, strained his eyes to the limits of the campfire glow. The sound was louder and moving closer now, a raking, thumping noise, interspersed with snorting breath. Nervously, the sentry called, "Who's there?" And into the firelight bounded a creature from his darkest nightmares. A monster, a demon, a dragon, a creature from hell! But it was none of these things. As dawn broke, the light fell on something never before seen throughout the length and breadth of Avalon, a horrifying mount which trotted on two sprayed-in legs, its taloned forelegs at the ready to attack, a mount with 3 yellow eyes and a whiplish tongue. And seated on the boarfax, a slim, grim, silent figure. The siege army fell back in panic, splitting in two to allow the rider and the nightmarish mount free passage through. On they travelled, looking neither right nor left, until they reached the moat beyond which lay the great gate of Camelot itself. On the battlements above, an archer raised his bow, then hesitated. There was something maddeningly familiar about the figure on the monster's back. Whispered the archer. Then with mounting excitement, turned to his companions. "Pip!" he shouted. "Pip has returned!" Below him, Pip's right arm slowly rose, holding aloft a great sword, which flamed and sparkled in the blood-red morning sun. Excalibur! The sound was like a thunderclap, rolling across distant hills. Excalibur! And as the sound reached the upper chamber of the Table Round, where the knights had fallen silent in their discussion, the wizard Merlin suddenly began to smile. "Your Majesty," said, "it seems the realm is saved." Alright, so it wasn't so bad. Not as terrible as the previous book, but not great endeavor of literature eater or a classic of game book, but well, it didn't go all the way downhill from book 4. Maybe can have some hope for the next book of the series next week. Same time, same channel, called Realm of Chaos.